Welcome back to the channel, lads and ladies. Welcome to Replays, and it feels so good to be back, just the two of us. I tested negative for COVID, which is great news, because not only do I not have to deal with that, what is it, virus right now? what are them things called, them bacteria viruses? But not only do I have to not deal with that right now, which is always welcome, but also that means that I was able to take my kids over to the neighbor's house and get them sat for a little while and let her baby them a little bit. And I got some lawns mowed, so I'm replenishing, or I'm recouping some of the debt that I've accrued to my wife in terms of my gaming fund. Spending less on War Thunder, spent a bit on Genshin Impact. That really is a fun game, but you gotta set different expectations for that one. You cannot be, as I am in War Thunder, a collector. And that really goes to show that different games have different values associated with them, and you definitely get a fantastic deal in War Thunder in terms of free-to-play content. And wow, in the space it took me to get to the point, it's already been 4 kills here by Admiral Hip Hip in the, quotes, German heavy tank, KB1C756R, something like that. The name, it fluctuates. My memory, it does as well. And when those two jellyfish collide, any kind of weird techno babble can come out. So watch yourself. Show me what you're working with. And what Admiral, you like that long pause while I tried to think of something funny? Admiral Hip Hip is working with the beautiful 75mm cannon, like the one you find on the Panzer IV F2. Get out a third-person view so you can aim down, or don't, you know, you do you, man. War Thunder's third-person aiming system is still a little jank, but I don't know, I'm kind of used to it by now, I suppose. There he goes, getting the depression he needs. Not the depression this city asked for, but the depression this city needs. And speaking of, I hope you all are doing well. You can tell I'm pretty cheerful. I have not gotten a workout like this in a while. At least since the last time my wife let me sneak into the bedroom. But that's none of your business. Instead, all my sweating and grunting went to cutting grass. So that's that pays instead of accruing more debt. Anyway, it has been an action-packed 7 kills as the Arty comes in, and with its improved high explosive effect, knocking off both tracks of Admiral Hip Hip somehow from the rear, blowing off the front of the track there. I think that's sort of a stock image there. I'm not sure if it's an Alamy image or what, but anyway, I'm just super goofy today. I will confess to you, I tried bringing back the secret mission last night. No, not that, but there is a very short-lived series called Secret Mission on this channel, and it comes from the beautiful days back in the day when I would stay up till 3 a.m. feeding my little guppy gups, who was just a little tiny tank baby. And that's where Secret Mission videos come from, and that is where Tank Cop, which is my favorite series on this channel, extremely short series, extremely stupid series, and those things just appeal to me, short and stupid. And I used to just have a lot of fun when I was super goofy at 3 a.m. Sitting around with nothing to do other than hold a bottle and wait for that girl to get her business done. She spent a lot of time kicking me and a little bit less time drinking from the baba. But those days are gone, and my situation is different now, and thus all of the music montages instead of actual content. And that comes down to the fact that I have 3 kids, and each one of them really does need to get some of my attention at different times. Okay, let's get back to talking about replays. So I tried on, I had some time, I tried on my Secret Mission accent, and I had fun, but it's really not made for a video format that's longer than like 3 minutes. It gets old for me after that. I start becoming too aware that I'm being a dingus, and I'm not quite drunk enough to pull off a longer video with that. So I scrapped it, turned it into one of my favorite musical montages that I have on the channel. So I really like how that turned out. Doing the daily tasks just got twice as spicy, along with the special tasks when the UI is not sending you confusing information because they hired an English second language gerbil to do the to do the notifications. But no offense to English second language gerbils. I mean, the man's got to eat. But they're a work in progress for sure. It's very new, this whole battle pass deal, and it is a great deal. I'm really enjoying the value. It has made grinding out the Warbond stuff way more fun once again, and I think that's something that the Warbond shop really needed, at least for me, because I have even less free time now, and you can see I don't even have any time to talk about this rampage that TinyPolska is going on here, but I really should. So let's talk a little bit about TinyPolska, a great kid, and okay, that's done. Now let's talk about the tank T-34R in the German premium line. You can see, if you're eagle-eyed, that there's a little bit of add-on armor to the front of the tank. That front face has a few thin plates of RHA stapled on the way you do when you're scared of German guns, and it also has a few of those applique plates on the sides as well. The turret, having recently been on the receiving end of some nice buffs as a result of changes to shell dynamics in the game, is even more difficult to punch through than it was before. It has, I think, a couple of overlapping 45mm blades, something like that, but they end up being ridiculously difficult to penetrate just because of the way post-pen interactions happen in the game. So there are some obvious weak spots on the turret, but they can be difficult to hit, especially against a moving target, and keeping in mind that the T-34 does have a fairly punchy gun that lines up with the cannons you'll commonly face at this BR against T-34s and KV-1s, and the fact that it sits in the German tree just means that there's that many fewer high penetration cannons, like or such as that 75 we talked about earlier, or the good 75. It's just something about that 75 that you find on the Japanese medium tanks around this BR that you almost never see these days. They're good tanks. Japan has some very good tanks between like 3.7 and 5.3 battle rating, but nobody plays them because, I mean, who plays Japan these days? And then you've got things like the French and the British, and they might even be on your team. The mixed matchmaker is definitely in full effect. Don't give a fuck about where your tank comes from. You're gonna fight as soon as possible, and you know what? Overall, I think that's a good thing. It's definitely mixed up the meta, and this is something that Gaijin has been slipping us by stages, as though it's preparing us for an experience that we might not be down for unless we're properly coiffed. But what I mean is the move away from what you might call semi-historical matchmaker has definitely been made in stages, and it's pretty much in full swing now. The matchmaker just seems to fill matches with whatever, and if Pasta Alfresco has to face Pasta Alfresco, well, then it's just going to be a zesty experience. And again, that has been something that, as someone that plays American vehicles all the time, it has really made me face some of my own shortcomings as a tanker, and eat some of the consequences of playing American vehicles all the time. They're just really good vehicles. Another thing that I've noticed, cannon barrels are just made out of a black hole even more than they used to be. You saw that bounce, you saw that weirdness, and you saw no damage to the cannon barrel because reasons. I mean, why would a bouncing high-velocity anti-tank 75mm APHEBC magic round they could probably punch through around 90mm of armor no matter what the stat card says because Russia's strong. I'm sure making it ricochet up at a 90-degree angle wouldn't cause serious damage to a cannon barrel. I'm also sure that that's exactly what would happen. Why would you doubt? Don't ask too many questions, comrade. You don't like where you'd go if people heard you saying these things. Anyway, I have been, as you can probably tell, absolutely enjoying War Thunder. I've been playing the game way too much. I've been getting a ton of content, and I've also been enjoying seeing the replays that you guys are sending in. Now, I don't always decide to record them right away, and you gotta understand. You're like, I got 3 kids, I play War Thunder a lot, I play one other game as well that I've already talked about. Excuse me. Still got a little bit of the black lung, and yet I do make time to record those replays. I don't think I've missed out on very many of them because of updates or whatnot. So most of those are sitting around somewhere or whatever. But whether or not I find the time to get to them, well, I mean, just gotta get lucky. Trust me, as a married man, sometimes you gotta wait to get lucky, but it is so worth it. Anyway, Admiral Hip Hip, now bringing up the rear, the butt of the replay video, but by no means the least beautiful, coming in the sexily curved American and German cooperation tank, whose price skyrocketed, but as an entertainer and a crowd pleaser, this mobile, surprisingly survivable, extremely deadly, fancy tech having big booty girl is an absolute delight to see anytime that we get our hands on the XM, what is it, 803? Something like that. In other words, this is the American version of the MBT-70 that is almost the same as the slightly higher battle rating equivalent that has, I think, full NVDs and a 20mm turret on top instead of the neat experimental 50 cal that you find in a little mini turret of its own, Terminator style. Dun 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 dun. Hip hip. So it's a good tank, is what I'm saying, and you don't miss out on too much to get that lower battle rating, but it does make a difference. And what's this thing set at, like an 8.3, I think? I can't remember. It's a good tank though, and you know, the meta for War Thunder has been shifted up a bit on account of the continuing process that Gaijin goes through trying to bring tasty USSR premiums into high tier and top tier, and yet it seems like everybody ends up playing American tanks or German tanks anyway, and then you just have all of these people. I mean, this is why having top tier premiums in a game is a bad idea. Everybody that does not have a huge amount of experience in the game, everybody that hasn't ground their way up to top tier by grinding out the tech tree over the course of hundreds and thousands of hours, gaining all of that tactical knowledge, you can all face people that have just picked up the game yesterday and their credit card to boot, and they pay to suffer and to spread salt among their teammates. It's a beautiful thing. God bless the dollar democracy. But you know what? Sometimes your money buys something absolutely incredible that ends up being completely useless itself, and maybe leads to a brighter future for the military-industrial complex. And that's exactly what we have here in the form of the XM, whatever the hell this thing is, because I don't play it. It's a really good tank though. Look how good it is. Look how good Admiral Hip is, as the replay system can't tell where the reticle's supposed to be. Don't worry, Hip knows where to shoot. He's not shooting from the hip, but hooray for surprise attacks. It's always those sneaky Teutons with their corner shooting now, isn't it? But he had pushed fairly aggressively, picking up 6 kills in the process, and a beautiful display of American mobility, firepower, and aggression, just the way we like to see these days. And now in the F8F beer can, the one with the 20 mils, I think. I think there's a version that has 4 20s to blaze, and that's exactly what we see here. And then there's another version that has some 50s in the wings as well. And at this tier, I'm not such a fan of American 50 cals. When spammed, they're still fantastic against aircraft, but planes tend to be... Oh, wow! Look at the elevator authority of this thing, even a high-speed dive. That is just absolutely disgusting. And the bombs come in for the kill. I think that enemy Leo stopped to put out his fire immediately, and that was probably the wrong call against a Bearcat loaded for bear, shooting off all the wheels of this spaghetti boy and then dropping a bomb on him just for good measure. That will, even today, activate the hull brake. 9 kills now, picking up a couple of beautiful Kaz strikes with the beer can, and now is the time to expect enemy jet fighters. In fact, I hear something right now. There he is. Someone in the G91. Somebody must have killed a Leo. Oh, and he gets nuked by an SPAA before he can do exactly what he's doing right now, which is popping up along the backside of that G91 and giving him the good news. You can see he dropped the bombs on the wings, by the way. This is a respawn in the F8F, in case that wasn't apparent. He dropped the bombs on the wings to get just enough climb to prop hang to shoot down that G91. The unfair cat, as it's known in sim battles, because it is so capable against enemy props and not afraid of jets at its tier either. But there's always German SPAA. Anyway, guys, hope you enjoyed this one of Solo Yo, and maybe I'll see you next time. Bye-bye.